Good morning, America. Welcome to A Minute with Mel. In this episode, I'm going to discuss the historical parallels between Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler. When White House advisor Elon Musk raised the right arm gesture at Donald Trump's inaugural parade, it prompted many historians to call it a Nazi salute. How could you not, says Peter Hayes, professor emeritus at Northwestern University in Illinois, and author of numerous studies on the Nazi Party. Musk's salute was not as blatant as Steve Bannon's gesture at the Conservative Political Action Conference, Hayes adds, referring to Trump's former advisor, who made a Nazi salute at the Conservative meeting in February. Some of Trump's supporters would argue, here we go again with the deep state conspiracies. If they can't get Trump on the Russian conspiracy or his business deals, then let's turn him into a Nazi. And while one might be willing to excuse Musk's behavior, who has stated publicly that he has Asperger's syndrome, a condition on the autism spectrum, there are others who wholeheartedly support right-wing organizations. But let me quickly note that this does not excuse Musk for the damage he has done to the federal government and American public psyche. Interestingly, over the past few weeks, I've attended a number of conferences and political dinners, as well as listening to media talk shows, where the discussion on similarities of the rise to power of Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler have come up. I walked away from these discussions thinking, well, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to complain until it's too late to do anything? Or, rather than waiting, should we become more vocal and take action to neutralize Trump's actions? I decided to do the latter by speaking out and bringing it to the American public's attention. Edmund Burke, an Anglo-Irish conservative statesman, said, "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph in the world is that good men do nothing." The American people need to take back their power either by vocalizing their disillusionment with the Trump administration. Of course, he may not care since he can't run for the presidency again, or by voting for candidates who will stand up and protect your rights, whether they are Democrat or Republican. But let's take a look at a number of parallels between Trump's and Hitler's rise to power. 1. Trump's public speaking skills and master propagandist. Following Germany's defeat during World War I, the German military was demobilized, and Hitler, a member of the military, took a German propaganda course at Munich University. He was chosen to speak to small groups of soldiers returning from the war in an effort to take their attention away from their defeat. Hitler came to the attention of one Captain Karl Meyer, chief propaganda of a local army unit. Meyer saw in Hitler someone who could speak in simple, approachable terms to ordinary people. Trump, based on his experiences with the TV show The Apprentice and other media outlets, developed a similar, simple approach as Hitler when speaking to ordinary people. When I first heard Trump speak, I thought he was not very bright, but the more I listened to Americans who liked him, I saw that the attraction in him was his simplistic, tell-it-like-it-is conversation with people, even though he either lied or exaggerated the facts in many of his speeches. 2. Trump putting the country first. In October 1919, Hitler infiltrated a Bavarian group and interrupted the debate to remind the Bavarians that Germany is not just about Bavaria, but all of Germany. Hitler emphasized a German-first attitude. And like Hitler, Trump has taken a similar tact with the America First initiative. Hitler focused on anti-communism and anti-Jews, while Trump has taken a slightly different tact to focus on anti-DEI, which is anti-minority, with great emphasis on blacks and women, and anti-immigration. The irony regarding immigration is that 2 of Trump's wives and families are immigrants. But oh wait, they're also white. Trump has also created an image of America's past greatness, that is, make America great again, through the lens of the late 19th century, where wealthy business tycoons exercise oligarchic rule. You can substitute tech billionaires today in the place of the business tycoons. He has also focused on how great world powers carved out and dominated their respective spheres of influence. Some historians believe that grabbing Greenland and Panama and subjugating impotent Canada fit into a late 19th century imperial mentality far more than something akin to Hitler's Lebensraum, which means living space, but the core idea is expansionism. I might disagree with the historian's perspective because Trump knows that today he cannot forcibly grab territory, but he can expand his economic power by negotiating for precious mineral rights or other art of the deal in various countries. 4. Trump's cult of personality. Trump supported the Democratic Party before switching to the Republican Party to create his MAGA following, which has some semblance to Hitler's National Socialist German Workers' Party. Trump has succeeded in creating a cult of personality with the MAGA people. 4. The dress to impress. During Hitler's era, he was viewed as unsophisticated and lacking in social skills. He tried to change his persona and makeover, but was publicly chided as the King of Munich because of his poor social background. Hitler, like Trump, wanted to be accepted by the rich and famous in Germany and the world. Trump is strangely focused on how members of his cabinet, friends, and foreign officials dress, as well as their physical appearances. You seldom see Trump without wearing a suit, even if his red necktie is worn unfashionably well below his belt. 5. Trump's influence on the economy. Germany's economy suffered badly after the U.S. Wall Street crash of 1929. Germany had been dependent on American loans from 1924 onwards, and as the loans were recalled, the economy sunk into a deep depression. Wages dropped, full-time employment fell, and over 10,000 businesses closed in Germany. Hitler took advantage of the failing economy and was sworn in as Chancellor of Germany in 1933. The Nazis were now in power. Trump, on the other hand, sought to give the impression that he saved the American economy after Obama left office. The truth is, Obama saved the U.S. economy after the 2008 global financial crisis, which was primarily triggered by a housing market bubble and collapse of the subprime mortgage market. The bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers, the fourth largest U.S. investment bank, is often considered the climax of the 2008 financial crisis. Obama got the economy back on track, and by the time Trump was elected, he sought to take credit for improving the economy until the pandemic hit in 2020. Under Trump's poor leadership, the economy took a hit as he failed miserably in managing both the economy and the pandemic. And we should note that approximately 1.1 million Americans died from COVID-19, and it ranks as the deadliest disaster in America's history. 6. A failed coup attempt. In November 1923, Hitler launched a failed coup, also known as the Munich Putsch, against the German government and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Hitler only served 9 months in a comfortable prison. As an Austrian citizen, he was not expelled to Austria as an unwanted felon, which would have ended his German political career. He then revived his political career with the support of the traditional conservatives on the right and obtained power legally, ready then to carry out a legal revolution from within. In 2021, the House, both Democrats and some Republicans, impeached Trump again, accusing him of inciting the 6 January 2021 riot and attack on the Capitol. The Senate acquitted Trump for the second time, even though some Republicans voted for conviction. While some Americans defended Trump and supported his efforts to deny the election of Joseph Biden as president, many Americans viewed it as the first coup attempt in America. 7. Potential similarities between Mein Kampf and Project 2025. While in prison, Hitler dictated his autobiography, Mein Kampf, to Rudolf Hess, in which he tells the world what he's going to do. 1. Declare war on the Jews. 2. Destroy the Jewish population in Europe. And 3. Upset the balance of power in the world. Mein Kampf became Hitler's political manifesto, and Hitler anointed himself as the Messiah of the German people. And while Trump denies having anything to do with the Project 2025 paper, which seeks to consolidate executive power in favor of right-wing policies, he has employed at least 5 of the authors of Project 2025, Russ Vought, OMB, Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Caroline Leavitt, White House Press Secretary, Brendan Carr, FCC, and Tom Homan, Border Czar, to work in his administration. Project 2025 is viewed as the Mein Kampf of modern-day America. However, unlike Hitler, Trump claims he's not anti-Jewish, but he has demonstrated that he is anti-immigrant and anti-black. Just look around you at what's happening in America today. And like Hitler, Trump would also like to become the Messiah of the American people. Perhaps we should take the meme of Trump dressed as the Pope a little more seriously. I also suspect that Trump is using the Jewish relationship as a propaganda tool and seeking to create a further division among the American people. My concern is that given the high profile Trump has elevated the Jewish population, Jews will be blamed for any failures or become the targets of right-wing conservatives after Trump leaves office. When Trump has no further use for the Jews, like some of his friends and family, he will probably desert them. Finally, Trump's use of the tariff is a means to upset the balance of power in the world. Unfortunately, at this time, the American people appear to be hurt more by the tariffs than the rest of the world. And Trump is known for being a taco. Trump always chickens out when he has to make those tough decisions. 8. Trump's demand for loyalty. After Hitler was released from prison, he started to rebuild the Nazi Party, and in February 1926, he called an emergency meeting to confront every member and challenged one party leader in particular, Gregor Stasser, who had a lot of influence with the party. Hitler demanded the unconditional loyalty of every member. Almost everyone in the room, including Stasser, agreed. The exception was party member Joseph Goebbels, who had excellent propaganda skills. Hitler needed Goebbels more than Goebbels needed Hitler, but charmed him until he finally came on board. During Trump's second term in office, he demanded a similar loyalty from his cabinet and party members, and is quickly dismissing those members he suspects of being disloyal. 9. Trump maintains a readiness to lie. In an article written by Alton Fry entitled Trump and Hitler, How Accurate a Comparison, Fry notes that perhaps the most sinister analogy between Trump and Hitler is the readiness to lie. Both leaders have shown remarkable talent to project their declarations with little regard for whether they are true or false. Hitler and his propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, were brilliant exploiters of the mass media of their time, especially radio, film, and print. When one visits the vast stadium in Nuremberg, where massive Nazi rallies gave Hitler breathtaking opportunities to animate his followers, the scale is beyond anything imagined in some football arenas. Trump's emphasis on his rally size and audience responses recalls Hitler's events. Once in office, the Nazis quickly suppressed any chance for other groups to mount similar rallies. A key point is that, in amplifying his voice, Trump enjoys even greater potential than Hitler. From his experience as a television showman, Trump shows eager interest in gaining coverage both in traditional media, which he has intimidated to no end, and in the myriad new channels of social media and other internet platforms. If he lacks Hitler's capacity to deny competitors access to those diverse outlets, Trump is still able to saturate them himself, mounting the equivalent of a full-court press. Finally, it is through his voluble speeches and media presentations that Trump invites a basic comparison to Hitler. His habitual resort to epithets regarding his opponents resembles the style in describing those Hitler saw as enemies: communists, Jews, anyone standing in the way of his quest for unfettered power. At the core, the two men share egos that are plainly narcissistic in the extreme. And that self-centered focus generates a coarse meanness of vocabulary that degrades politics. General Mark Milley, who chaired the Joint Chief of Staff during the first Trump presidency, has voiced his emphatic verdict to author Bob Woodward. No one has ever been as dangerous to this country as Donald Trump. Now I realize he's a total fascist. He's the most dangerous person in this country. Many others who served with President Trump offer similar views. A reasonable verdict is that Trump is no Hitler unless the American people enable him to be one. I leave you with a few following from Ecclesiastes 1:9. What has happened before will happen again. What has been done before will be done again. There's nothing new in the whole world. This might be true unless we change it. My next podcast will discuss the future of America. Who are we? Have our values changed? Where's our country headed? Thanks for listening. This has been A Minute with Mel.